Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Teach United donor community call. I'm Heather Heach, the CEO and co-founder of Teach United, and we're really happy to have you here today. We have a few housekeeping notes. Our Senior Director of Communications, Jess, is recording the webinar, and you'll have a link sent in the next few days. And our COO, Molly, is manning the chat and Q&A live during the session. So I just want to open by saying we are really thrilled to have you with us today, especially because we've just returned from the United Nations General Assembly Week, which was great, but it was also really shockingly apparent that the UN's education goals are not on track to be met by the 2030 deadline. So it was also apparent that a few organizations like Teach United have really strong impact outcomes, and we were part of several working groups focused on that issue, but education is simply just not getting the attention it deserves by media, policymakers, and by philanthropy. So we are giving you a giant thank you for being here and standing beside us, because you know why this work matters. You know a child with a poor education is more likely to experience unemployment, homelessness, violence, suffer from treatable diseases. That's what happens if we don't do this work. So I know I usually start conversations with celebrations and long lists of successes, because Teach United, I mean, as a program, as a team, as this donor community, we've been wildly successful in our programs and learning outcomes, but I've really never been more convinced now after returning from that trip that a high quality education is a basic human right. It impacts every other sector, and that means it's something we all have to fight for. So thank you for being here today. So our roadmap for today, what we're going to be going through over this call, we're going to do program updates. So this is our virtual site visit. We're going to hear from some of our coaches and teachers about how Teach United strategies increase the foundational skills like math and literacy, increase outcomes for girls, keep great teachers from leaving the profession. So we'll hear directly from them. We're going to go over some of our numbers, hear about where we're headed on the scaling journey to reach as many kids as possible, and then what's coming next on the horizon. So this is the work we know we still have to do. So for example, we know 9 in 10 children in low-income countries still cannot read with comprehension by the age of 10. So on the horizon will be the work that we have yet to do. Fortunately, we're doing great work to tackle those very issues. So let's dig right in. Really excited to introduce you to some of our coaches and some of our participating teachers. So our goal in our program is to equip as many kids as possible with foundational skills and graduate ready to succeed. And the way we do that is through a teacher coaching model and building the capacity of community leaders. So while teacher training isn't necessarily innovative, the way Teach United delivers it is. So what you're going to hear from our site visits is that the Teach United program is rooted in evidence, but it's tailored and customized. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And our first stop on today's tour is going to take us to Nigeria, where our regional manager of education, Anastasia, sat down with our NGO partner, 1 Million Teachers, and one of their participants, Rashidat Sadiq. So keep an ear out for Rashidat's take on 2 things. 1, the impact of the Teach United program on girls in her classroom, and 2, the impact of the program in elevating her own professional position in her community. So I'll ask Jess to go ahead and start that. It's about a 5-minute interview, and we hope you enjoy.
Why do you think TeachUNITED programs shows high impact? And in relation to the high impact, can you differentiate between high impact on the side of girls and on the side of boys?
Yes, I think from my perspective, one of the modules that really was able to give us high impact with regards to the girls is the module on personalized learning. So what we find is that in a number of cases, not always, but in a number of cases, the girls are reticent, they're shy, they don't really want to speak up. They sometimes allow the boys to dominate. Sometimes it's not even about domination, but they don't want to be made fun of, different reasons why the girls are more laid back or quieter during the lessons. But if you're able to implement personalized learning, which is something I'm still learning to do, but I just realized that when you start giving them things like having a choice, like choosing their own goals, they become more excited. They're more willing to share, because a lot of times it's a one-on-one thing or a small group thing. So they're not as shy as if they had to share their views in front of the entire class. And when they start off being confident and comfortable in a small group or one-on-one, with time, when you ask them to share with the larger class, they're not so shy anymore. They know they're able to do it, and they love what they're doing. So sometimes they don't even care if others don't agree with them, because they know it's for them. So that I really liked. And yes, before now I have been trained on gender equity and things like that. So my class I try to make it balanced, but I see that aspect of personalized learning also helps really. And that's really one benefit for girls that I see in the Teach United program.
Thank you so much. I'm glad he's doing that, because as a woman, I would love to see like more girls succeed in their careers and achieve their dreams. So, and what other challenges like do you think happens in the community, like the challenges that you face in your community, and how does a program like Teach United help, like in the community, you as a member of the community, you as a teacher, like how does a program like Teach United help like solve those challenges?
Okay, so I think I'll start first of all from the school community. One
Yes.
great benefit I see from the Teach United program is that it really helps to build teachers up. Now, as a teacher, sometimes we have issues with professional development. The first one being time to go for trainings. The second one being the resources, funds, finances. Now, this program, we're so fortunate to get it for free, and it's a cascading model where, you learn and you teach others, or you implement what you know with the teachers you're working with. So there's this free access, in my mind, to professional development, and a sort of free, or like rising up the ladder. So at the end of this program, I think, and I believe I'm going to do well and be able to confidently call myself an instructional coach. Now that takes me a step higher from just a teacher or just a HOD or just a coordinator. An instructional coach is a big deal. And I've learned and I have the resources to help others around me. So I see it just generally improving the ecosystem of the entire school,
Yeah.
by
Yes.
helping us to develop from within and all the members of the school, the teaching environment. And then even going outside the immediate school environment, I believe that the confidence that such a program gives the teachers is also something that boosts the confidence of the community members in the education system. So some people, look at teachers and, you hear things like education is a scam, or, they don't value teaching. People are valuing money over teaching. But when we do a program
Yes.
like this and we're really self-assured and we're confident, we're able to portray that confidence. And you see the parents having confidence in us. You see the children, even though they may not want to become teachers, but they appreciate us as teachers that help them to really find where they wanted to go, that gave them a voice, that gave them choices, that made learning fun for them. So I think it really helps the engagement with the larger community. The children love school, they want to come, and things like that can be, some of the benefits of such a program.
I loved hearing her say that it benefits the entire school ecosystem. It's great. So in our next site visit interview, we're going to be hearing from Karina in Mexico about how the Teach United program has created a framework for collaboration. So this is bringing together the teachers, the tutors, the students, the parents, everyone in the community to shift the entire system. So we'll go to Mexico next.
Afecta en lo más positivo posible que se pueda dar, porque efectivamente antes de pandemia ya estábamos viviendo por una carga administrativa muy grande. Anteriormente el magisterio tenía un lugar privilegiado dentro de la sociedad. Sin embargo, a raíz de reportajes, películas, cuestiones que se habían dado, pues se había como que manchado un poquito, ¿no? En el trabajo del docente. Con la pandemia, pues nos encerramos en nuestras casas, empezamos a tener muchísimo más carga de trabajo, empezamos a sufrir también pérdidas dentro de la familia, en vecinos, amigos, y eso también como que nos bajaba un poquito el ánimo. Cuando regresamos a las aulas y se nos presenta en lo personal esta oportunidad de pertenecer a este curso, a esta formación, pues se nos abre un panorama diferente. Empezamos a recordar el por qué decidimos ser docentes, por qué estamos en esta función, en esta labor. Y más de que se nos abren otros caminos, otras estrategias innovadoras, porque si bien todo va avanzando, incluso hasta los niños van cambiando, y si nosotros seguimos con las mismas prácticas, también nosotros nos agobiamos y agobiamos a los alumnos. Entonces, esta oportunidad de TeachUNITED, de que abramos nuestra mente, que vayamos cambiando esas ideas fijas que tenemos para seguir adelante, para innovar, para cambiar, pero siempre con la mirada hacia qué queremos ser, ¿no? Ese docente que queremos ser y que queremos impactar también, no solamente en nuestros alumnos, sino también en nuestros colegas. Y yo creo que las actividades y las acciones que estuvimos llevando a cabo en este curso fueron sumamente prácticas. No representó una carga, un estrés, al contrario, eran espacios en los cuales nos permitía también liberarnos de esas preocupaciones o de esa carga. El desafío más grande es, como te mencionaba al inicio, lo que los padres de familia tienen con relación al ser maestro, ¿no? O lo que ellos creen que se les debe de enseñar a sus hijos. Ahorita nos estamos enfrentando al mayor desafío, que es cambiar esquemas, cambiar paradigmas. Tenemos un nuevo programa y plan de estudio con nuevas metodologías, con nuevas estrategias. Entonces, el desafío es no solamente trabajar con los docentes y con los niños, sino involucrar también a la comunidad, porque el centro medular de este plan y programas de estudio es la comunidad como núcleo integrador. Entonces, si esa comunidad no está al tanto, no está en conocimiento de qué es lo que estamos haciendo, pues no vamos a poder lograr hacer ese trabajo. TeachUNITED nos abre esas ventajas en proporcionarnos a nosotros esas estrategias y herramientas para hacer llegar esa información, no solamente con una plática o una conversación, sino con estrategias diversificadas, innovadoras, que de alguna u otra manera también al papá que no pueda asistir de manera presencial, le podríamos hacer llegar esa información.
In our final stop, you're going to hear from TeachUNITED Administrator Coach Jason Taylor. He's talking with Chris, a school principal in a rural U.S. district in New Hampshire. And Chris is going to share how a specific need to help a cohort of special education students with literacy inspired improved classroom practices for all of the kids in her elementary school. So it's that ripple effect that occurs with TeachUNITED community coaches. So I'm excited for you to hear from Chris.
Well, so Chris, tell us a little bit about the challenges that you face in your school and community.
Well, in the school, like I said, reading has become a big part of our focus with kids. So that a few years back when our special ed cohort did not reach the level of proficiency, and we ended up on this list through the Department of Ed, we knew that we needed to really put a lot of focus and professional development into our reading. And we have an extremely smart staff who has always done extremely impressive work with students. And because of COVID, we had really backed off of a lot of professional development district-wide. Teachers administrators were exhausted and we were trying to give ourselves a break. But we knew we needed to really dig in and dig into reading. And we wanted to also figure out with our special ed population, what were the most appropriate, most effective ways to teach reading and teach all subjects, really. We know our special ed students are typically average to very high intelligence, but they learn differently. And so we've always wanted to fully understand how to teach every student in the most appropriate ways to see maximum growth for them.
So I love how you said you started out talking about how you wanted to boost reading and then specifically working with special ed populations, but then you mentioned how the overall goal was to teach all students better, and that by working on those two things allowed you to have better instruction for people. So how does a program like Teach United help you address those challenges that you just talked about?
Well, we had the first work we did before Teach United was we attended professional development to establish PLCs, professional learning communities. We've been doing that process for a few years now, and we definitely have seen growth in terms of our teachers' practice, growth in terms of our students' learning, but it hasn't had the significant impact that we expected it to have. And reflecting on that, with the teachers, it was the instructional piece that we realized we didn't spend enough time on in our meetings together. So Jason, how did you teach to that standard so that your kids came out so high on that assessment and mine didn't? So we knew we needed to spend more time on our instruction, which was something that we hadn't focused enough on. And meanwhile, that's when Teach United kind of popped up, and our assistant principal at the time, Carol, and I both knew that this professional development was exactly what we needed at the right time, because we had the right structures in place. We had the right mindset in place. We just needed that extra piece that Teach United has provided.
What is it about Teach United's program that you would say sets itself apart from maybe some of the other training experiences that you've had?
A few things. One, the one that I love the most is that it's professional development which I'll speak a little to in terms of the topics that are outstanding, but it's the fact that it's not just professional development given to you and good luck, go do it and implement it and you'll probably see some good results. The team doesn't go away. The Teach United team said, well, we're going to teach you as administrators year one, teach the 6 teacher team in year 2, and we're going to come in and do this with you too. We're going to work with you in your buildings in whatever structures work for you. They're just flexible enough that they'll create their schedule around us and come in and work with all staff around the 4 domains: the mindset, authentic engagement, personalization, and meaningful data. And those 4 components were they're excellent domains to focus on, because it's not just about the students or the adults, it's everyone and what you're doing together. So
great, thanks. Really loved hearing her talk about how Teach United is different. As she mentioned, a lot of teachers are going through a lot of professional development and training, but she really focused in on how Teach United is different. I love hearing the stories of change directly from our partner teachers. So now we're going to dig into the numbers. So as many of you know from previous announcements, Teach United programs have officially reached over 30,000 teachers and 1 million children. And that's been done from combining the best of global knowledge and the best of local leadership. So as I mentioned earlier, we were at the United Nations General Assembly last week and had the opportunity to be in a workshop on the global education crisis with the governor of Kwara State in Nigeria. And he said that he's worried that there's too much focus being placed on hyper-localization. I mean, yes, of course, he supports his local leaders and wants to empower his local leaders. But he also recognizes that the power of being part of a global network means that He can find out what is working and replicate it. He also can find out what's not working, so they don't waste resources there. So he was really describing Teach United's scaling model. So that combination of global, regional, and local, rooting our program in global research, connecting people in a regional network, and then building the capacity of local leaders. So it was really incredible validation for our model and the work that we're all doing together. And it's also why we've been able to reach so many kids with high impact. And you can see here, we've already reached almost 250,000 more this year. And here you can see that global network of local leaders, all the places where teachers are developing into community-based coaches, and all the places where kids are increasing foundational skills like math and literacy and graduation rates. So we're really proud of all of our partners there. So those of you who attended or watched the recording of the last donor community call know that we focused really heavily on data. And today we're sharing a little bit more about the stories and the people from our partner communities. But remember, you can still get a full serving of impact data and user stories in these case studies that were just released. So thanks again to the Schooner Foundation for the financial support in making that happen. We are really, really proud of this work. So you should have links to these case studies in your email reminders for this call, or you can just simply visit the Teach United websites, click on the reports button, annual reports, case studies, everything's there. So a quick update on financials. As I mentioned at the opening, there's a pretty devastating gap between the UN's 2030 goals and the current state of education. Especially education as a basic right. So since we know Teach United works, I believe there's a really powerful opportunity for this group to turn that frustration into action. So right now, we're currently projecting fiscal year 2024 to be pretty similar to 2023. However, I would really like to challenge us, this group, to increase our impact over the next 3 years. We want to reach another 1 million children by 2026. And you can see here that philanthropy makes up about 75% of our current income. And we do have a growing revenue model, but we're always going to need philanthropy, because if we only operate in districts that can afford to pay for our services, we're not really on mission, and we're not working in the areas with highest poverty and breaking those cycles of poverty. So to do that, to have that bigger impact, I want to increase our programs. I want to hire more staff, which means we need to raise more money. So for 2024, we have about half of those donations already identified and pledged, with limited development funding being allocated to education. Really hopeful that this Teach United community can do the following 3 things. I'm asking everyone to renew your pledge for the next 3 years. Consider adding an additional impact gift to accelerate our impact. And the last thing is to invite 2 colleagues to match your gift in our end of year holiday campaign. So we have a goal in that end of year campaign to fully fund an entire district that's on our wait list, because I feel like it's simply unacceptable that there are schools in need, that there are schools who want to make this kind of change, they're willing to do this work, but they're on a wait list. So we know we're ready to improve that student learning. We've got schools ready to partner with us, and we can do it. So on the horizon, this is what's coming next. I want every school off that wait list. I want, frankly, I want us to be furious when there's a school waiting on the wait list. And we have an enormous opportunity to change the trajectory of those United Nations outcomes. So to do that, we as an organization, advisory group, board of directors, we're focusing on 3 organizational priorities in 2024. The first one is scale. We know this works. How many students can we reach with these high impact programs? The second priority is impact. We always want to make sure that our programs are actually improving learning for students. And we want to keep great teachers in the profession. So we're always going to highlight that impact piece. And the third is fundraising. So we have to make sure we can actually operate all of these great programs and in communities with the most need. So everyone on this call, whether you're here with us live or watching the recording, you are our ambassadors for this work. And that means that we need you to share Teach United's work with others. Maybe that's the annual report, a brochure, a video, talk about us at dinner with your friends. You're involved in something really, really powerful. And so we're asking you to share it with others. So that's one thing. And then the other one I already mentioned, consider that multi-year pledge. Not only does that go on our books and allow us to leverage other fundraising, but it also allows us to plan further into the future instead of focusing on a single fiscal year. And if you're not sure how to help, just ask. We'd love to schedule time with you. You can contact Rebecca. On the next slide, you'll see her email address there. You can contact Rebecca to schedule time with me or someone on our leadership team. If you like more details about your investment, more details about what you can do to help, then please do reach out. I do have some upcoming travel. I don't want to miss your email, so reach out to anyone on our team. As a reminder, we are going to be sharing a recording of today's meeting. We'd love for you to look for more information from us regarding future donor calls in 2024, early next year. And with that, I just really want to thank you again for your optimism and your courage to extend education as a basic human right to all kids. Your time, your financial gifts, your partnership, that really is what makes this happen. So on behalf of the entire Teach United team and our global school network of 30,000 teachers, over 1 million children, really wanted to thank you.